Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of the Tombstone Tourist. This week I'm at Hollywood Cemetery in Richmond, Virginia. This large 130-acre cemetery is one of Virginia's oldest and most historic burying grounds. It's the final resting place of more than 18,000 Civil War veterans, including Generals George Pickett and Jeb Stuart, along with Confederate President Jefferson Davis. It's also the final resting place of two U.S. presidents, James Monroe and John Tyler, along with many of Virginia's most notable citizens, like the man that we're here to visit today. I've made my way to Section 29, where I find the final resting place of Lewis F. Powell, who for 15 years served as an Associate Justice on the United States Supreme Court. Lewis Franklin Powell Jr. was born in Suffolk, Virginia on September 19, 1907. He attended Washington and Lee University, where he was the editor of the student newspaper. He also attended Washington and Lee Law School, where he graduated first in his class in 1931. He went on to attend Harvard Law School, where he graduated with a master's degree in 1932. During World War II, he served as an intelligence officer with the United States Air Force. His military service took him to North Africa and later to Europe, where he served during the Allied invasion of Sicily. He served in the military from 1939 to 1945, during which time he rose to the rank of colonel and received several awards, including the Legion of Merit and the Bronze Star. Lewis Powell was honorably discharged in October 1945. Following his military service, Powell became a partner in one of Virginia's largest law firms, where his area of expertise was corporate litigation, specifically litigation pertaining to railroads and the tobacco industry. Through his firm, he was involved with several railroad mergers and represented several tobacco companies, including Philip Morris. In fact, from 1964 until 1971, Powell served on the board of directors of Philip Morris. He was also highly involved in the development of Colonial Williamsburg, where he served as general counsel and as a trustee. Powell was highly involved in his local community and his local government. In 1951, he became a member of the Richmond School Board, serving as its chairman from 1952 until 1961. This was during the turbulent times of school desegregation, when the United States Supreme Court issued its landmark ruling in Brown v. Board of Education in 1954. Virginia, as a whole, opposed the ruling. Like most government leaders, Powell refused to speak out publicly against his state's position, but working behind the scenes, he developed a favorable relationship with a number of civil rights leaders who supported him later when he took a position on the state's Board of Education. By 1969, Powell had developed a very lucrative private practice and was regarded as one of the country's most respected corporate lawyers. It was then that President Richard Nixon first approached Powell about filling a vacant seat on the United States Supreme Court. At the time, Powell declined to accept Nixon's offer, choosing instead to remain in private practice. But in 1971, President Nixon and Attorney General John Mitchell again approached Powell about a position on the High Court. While Powell was reluctant to accept the nomination, he eventually gave in. And on October 21, 1971, President Richard Nixon nominated Lewis Powell and William Rehnquist to fill the 2 vacant positions on the United States Supreme Court. On January 7, 1972, after being confirmed by the Senate by a vote of 89-1, Lewis F. Powell, Jr. became an Associate Justice on the United States Supreme Court, filling the seat that had been previously held by Justice Hugo Black. While experts labeled Powell a conservative, his record reflects that he was more of a moderate and was often the swing vote on the highly divided court of Chief Justice Warren Burger. During his tenure on the High Court, Justice Powell participated in a number of high-profile cases, including Roe v. Wade, where Powell joined the 7-2 majority in the decision that basically legalized abortion. He also was the swing vote on the court's 5-4 decision that overturned a Texas law that prohibited undocumented children from receiving public education. Justice Powell served on the High Court from January 7, 1972 until June 26, 1987. He was almost 80 years old when he left the bench, and it took several attempts to fill his seat. The first nominee was Robert Bork, who was not confirmed by the Senate, and the second nominee, Douglas Ginsburg, withdrew from consideration because he admitted to smoking marijuana in college. Finally, Justice Anthony Kennedy was confirmed by the Senate and assumed Justice Powell's seat on the court, and Justice Kennedy still sits on the court today. Even in retirement, Justice Powell stayed busy. He continued to serve as a substitute judge hearing cases on various courts of appeals around the country. And in 1990, Douglas Wilder asked Justice Powell to swear him in as the first elected African-American governor, not only in Virginia, but in the United States. In retirement, Justice Powell lived in the Windsor Farms area of Richmond, Virginia. It was there that he passed away from complications of pneumonia at the age of 90 on August 25, 1998. Well, this is where I'm going to end this video, here at Hollywood Cemetery in Richmond, Virginia. There are a number of notable people resting here, and in the coming weeks I'll be visiting more of them, including 2 United States Presidents, James Monroe and John Tyler. I upload a new video every Sunday morning, so if you enjoy this type of content, I hope if you haven't already done so that you'll consider subscribing. And a thumbs up is always appreciated. Now, until next week, remember, life is a wonderful journey. Be sure to take time and enjoy it. And I'll see you down the road. So long, everybody.